Nigeria closed its airspace months ago and only just reopened for domestic flights.
Only evacuation and essential service flights from and to foreign countries were approved by the federal government because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But some charter airlines have begun offering flight services to members of the public who want to travel for a special fee.
This defies the directive given by the federal government. Now, aviation expert Olumide Hunaya joins us now via Skype to discuss this. Olumide, it's good to have you join us this morning. Now, talk to us basically, when a directive has been given and there are few exceptions when it comes to either there's an emergency or there's an evacuation situation where international flights can be allowed at this time, that is what we know. But a situation where chartered flights or chartered operation is going on at this time, I wonder what you make of that. Can you educate us?
Good morning. Good morning to you there. Good morning to all Nigerians. Let me first make some clarifications. What was actually banned was scheduled commercial flights. Other flights were left, such as cargo, use technical landings. These technical landings are those provided that they're not coming down. The passenger don't step on the soil of Nigeria. Technical landing here means you maybe an aircraft stops to refill, and they refill, change some things and take off. Then you have those that want to alternate aerodrome and overflight aircrafts too. All this were allowed and left in place. What was banned was commercial flight, and then in place of commercial flight, now came the word essential services flight, essential and emergency. So during this period, for the domestic airspace here, we had the essential flight that was carrying the oil workers and some other people, while any other charter flight, because of no movement, required the approval of the Ministry of Aviation. So, but what we have noticed is that rather than these approvals coming in coming in line with the document that was sent for application for this approval, you find that most of these approvals were not, most of the flights was approved by the government, and we are told that they are investigating. The NCA started the investigation with the Ministry of Aviation, and up to today we have not heard anything from the investigation, and the abnormalities they continues.
But are you confident in this investigation that is been said to be carried out at this point? Are you certain that anything will come out of it, perhaps penalties and sanctions might be seen?
Well, this penalties and sanctions should not only go to the operators. You should also look at some people in the industry that give those approvals. We have to be sincere to ourselves. Really, because throughout this period, the only flight that was sanctioned was that of Naira Marley, and that was because he stabbed himself. And I think there was another. There was another flight, another charter flight from England. But what we have noticed is that now the foreign airlines are now boldly advertising tickets, selling tickets through agents and directly, not from the offices, but through agents and their representatives, under the guise of emergency and evacuation flight. And take it from me, the emergency and evacuation flights can only be operated by the government agency or international agencies. It's not for state airlines to operate. And when you advertise and say people should pay into an agent's account, into a company account, and after pay, they notify the office. I think it's just a clever way of beating the definition evacuation and emergency flights.
But at this time, the point there is, what we understand is that no flight can take off without the authorities knowing, because you need certain approvals here and there. Can one say that the authorities are not aware? Because if they have to go into the issue of investigation, one would say, why investigation in the first place? Because one knows who gives directives, who approves directives, or who approves the permission for any flight to take off in the first place.
It's all about documentation. One of the airlines that I've written to the Ministry claiming to evacuate maybe citizens in the country or other residents of the country who are based in Nigeria, who have shown interest of living in Nigeria. And the next thing you see is that these flights carry not only residents, they carry people with visa and those willing to travel. And which negates the agreement. Now, why would one of our own flights was stopped from lifting passengers in Canada and Egypt based on the fact that the airline had some issues with taking, being the one collecting the revenue for that flight. When such flight was organized by the government, normally the government must participate in evacuation flights through the diplomatic embassies in the respective countries.
All right.
Middle East airline in Lagos Airport. And I don't want to mention him up to this moment. Advertising fares, London, US flights, while they are not an airline operating into London.
And now some persons have said that because the airspace was closed for about 3 months and the agents who are taking advantage of the situation, making brisk business, were running out of funds and perhaps are taking advantage of the situation on the ground. So that the situation on the ground as we speak is what has mandated what is going on. And so perhaps we should accept it the way things are going. I wonder if you share the same view that the situation on the ground is what warrants what we are seeing that is generating a lot of concerns.
I totally disagree with that. When you say you give approval for this period for essential and evacuation, then we should go by the books and allow the evacuation to take place. Evacuation is conducted by government agencies or international organizations, not by private operators or scheduled airlines. What we have now, you see scheduled airlines and charter airlines operating evacuation operating commercialized flights under the guise of evacuation flights. We also, I know that because of the situation, we have some Nigerians traveling all the way to Cotonou to go on board commercial flight, and I think the government should review its stance on the international flights and allow this, since they cannot control the granting of approval, then they should work towards opening the international flights so that this exploitation of Nigerians will stop.
All right. So, what kind of sanctions are we expected to see if actually there has been violations, and from whom should those sanctions come from?
Well, this time around, the sanctions are supposed to come from the Ministry of Aviation. They are the one that grants the approval for this period. It is so right to the Minister of Aviation. So you expect that the sanctions also emanate from his office. Again, I think his office should also look at themselves, look inwards. What's going on? Why are my sanctions? Why are my approvals being pushed? Why am I having why are documents that are coming to me not what is operating? So I think as they do that, they also have to look at the operators themselves and apply appropriate sanctions to the operators and those who have facilitated operations within the Nigerian airspace.
All right.
So what does this say with the level of porosity that we have seen? What does this say of our management of our airspace, and are there implications to this?
Well, the security situation right now is that we have been able to hold our grounds when it comes to securing our airports and having meeting with the guidelines as advocated by the World Health Organization and ICAO. But you see, when you give approvals for evacuation and you have people turning to commercial flight, clearly not hiding it, then you are sure that those airlines and operators are not enough. So they need to find those within who are backing them.
All right. Olumide Ahuayo, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you.